All right, so you started wholesaling and you're getting a whole bunch of opportunities. But in all reality, some of these opportunities, majority of these opportunities don't fit your 70% rule or wholesaling criteria. They may not need too many repairs, or they may just want retail, or maybe there's not enough equity and they have a mortgage. Well, either way, guys, I'm gonna show you my top 5 strategies on how to go ahead and still monetize off of opportunities that may not fit your 70% rule or wholesaling criteria, but still are motivated to sell. Now listen, 3, 4, and 5 is something that are really not to be played with, and a lot of the times not too many people talk about them, but 1 and 2 are still going to be very, very valuable. So with that being said, let's go ahead and deep dive into the video because I'm extremely excited. Let's go. All right, guys, so number 1 is going to be retail. Now, what I mean by retail is having a realtor on your side, on your team, or maybe you also being a licensed realtor. Now, the good thing about this, guys, is that you're always going to be having people that are going to want retail value. Maybe nothing will be wrong with their property at all. And instead of you just not doing anything with that particular lead, it's best that you go ahead and actually refer them on over to somebody that can actually help and in return incentivize you. Now, I always go ahead and negotiate for about 20 to 30% commission fee, but you can also do maybe a flat fee of $1,000 or $500 if and when they close. And the cool thing about this is you want to make sure that you're setting expectations so that the realtor knows that these are pre-motivated leads, and not only that, that the homeowner knows that this person is really, really good at their job. They're a really good realtor. They have great accolades and standards, and they may be crushing it. So I definitely recommend that you reach out to realtors, and this is another way for you to gain MLS access. So you can go ahead and let them know that you'll be sending them leads, in return doing business with them, giving them pre-motivated leads that may want to list their property or may want to sell their property. And in return, you just want to be able to get maybe MLS access or be able to send them properties for them to run comps, or maybe just get some advice. This is a great way for you to find a partnership, make money, and also leverage that partnership both ways, your way and their way. So realtor is going to be very, very important when it comes down to it, because majority of your leads, I would say 80% of your leads, are probably just going to be literally fitting that avatar where they don't really need too much work. They just want to hear an offer, and they may not even want to list, but if you give them a good opportunity with a realtor where they can list it for cheaper, they can have great accolades, they may go for it, and now you are obviously making some money where you thought you weren't going to make any money at all. All right, guys, number 2 is going to be flipping the property. Now, I know a lot of the times we think of flipping and we think of a long time, maybe 2 to 3 months. We also think about all the variables of the inspector, the appraisal, and the contracting team, and then getting funds to buy the property. Whew. All right, I just got tired of saying all that. But anyways, what I do want to tell you is that not all money is good money. And what I mean by that is occasionally, instead of just making a $10,000 wholesale fee, why don't you just go ahead and flip the property and make 50 grand? The good thing about this is you want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. Make sure that you have a private money lender or a hard money lender with good rates and good terms. Make sure that you have a contracting team in place ready to go when you know how they work, or maybe you have cash buyers that you can JV with as well to go ahead and line up this property to flip it. But I do want you to go ahead and to always consider it, because the good thing about this is that it's going to build grit, it's going to build a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience. And the good thing about it is because of the fact that you're truly going to learn how to invest into properties, how to get down and dirty and truly know what renovation costs are, how to go ahead and find out how long it's going to take to flip this property, what the numbers are, how to appraise it, how to comp it. Because when you're selling your deals, it's going to help you and benefit you really understanding this information, because you can go ahead and let your cash buyers know that you know this is a good deal, and that you know that you can personally get this done for X amount of time and for X amount of dollars, right? And that you've also been around the ringer. And not only that, it's going to help you understanding as well when it comes down with combating rebuttals with the actual homeowner, that you have experienced this before, so you can talk about the granite, you can talk about the squares on the roof, you can truly have investor knowledge information to help you win over your competition, and letting them understand that this is believe, like, and trust that you can truly make this happen. And the renovations that they might be talking about that are only 10 grand is truly more like 20 or 30. So flipping the property, guys, is going to be something that you may want to consider when it comes down to looking at it to see, in all reality, is it better for you to make quick money or big money? All right, guys, so number 3 is going to be novation. Novation. Now, Novation in simpler terms is essentially where you go ahead and draft up an agreement that explains that you will be partnering up with the homeowner to go ahead and list the property at retail price or maybe at retail market. And in return, you may be doing some things to fix it up, or maybe you may not. But it's very, very simple. I'll give you an example. A novation could be where you go ahead and partner up with the actual homeowner, and maybe you do some fixing as far as maybe the inside of the kitchen, maybe some cleaning, some painting, and you immediately list it on the market. Let's just say that the agreement states that they are looking for $100,000 and that you will repair the property and you will sell for retail. Let's just say it sells for $150,000. At that point in time, you'd be collecting your $50K, they'd be taking the $100K, and that was the agreement. It's basically just essentially understanding that, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and do the work on the property and I've agreed with you on a certain price, and at the end of the day, I'm allowed to go ahead and sell this on the market and collect the difference. Now, the cool thing is you can also do this without having to fix the property as well. So novation agreements is going to be really, really cool as well, especially if you can't come down on a price which makes sense for them, but in all reality, you know that you can do minimalistic work on it and still make a couple bucks, and you essentially have it all planned out. You have a realtor that can list it on the market for fairly cheap, or you can do a flat fee listing. In all reality, maybe you can do the work yourself, or you have somebody that can do the work as well for cheap. So it's also a great opportunity when it comes down to pitching a novation agreement to see if you can still get it done. And the cool thing about it is, once again, you don't even have to do any work to the property. You can just go ahead and negotiate, let them know that you're going to go ahead and list it on the market. And if you get a hit, you get a hit, and it sells, and they're cool with what they get and you're cool with what they get. Very, very simple. So novation agreements are also really, really dope, guys. I definitely recommend you looking into them. I've only done a handful, so I recommend that you truly do your due diligence on novation agreements and make sure that it is something that you truly understand and something that you truly know how to structure it before getting into it. But they're also a great way to go ahead and pitch and make sense of it when it comes down to still monetizing on an opportunity for you. All right, guys, just want to go ahead and take this moment to give our sponsor for today's video a shout out. With that being said, we've been able to go ahead and partner with Batch Leads, getting you a free 7-day trial and also 1,000 leads, either when it comes to cash buyers or potential motivated homeowners. So if you're an aspiring real estate investor and you're looking to go ahead and get started, please make sure to get the all-in-one software right now by going to bluestext.com or checking the link in the description. Now back to today's video. All right, guys, number 4 is going to be creative financing. I'm going to break down creative financing in the top 3 ways. Number 1 is going to be seller financing. Seller financing is essentially where you go ahead and negotiate with the homeowner on terms that you may agree on, like 30 years, 15 years, an interest rate that you guys both agree on, like 4, 5, 6%, and then a down payment, if any, that you may go ahead and agree on, and also the purchase price. So essentially, it's kind of like you buying the property from the bank, except it's just not the bank, it's the homeowner that's financing it to you. So the cool thing about this is that anything goes. Whatever you guys agree upon is basically what happens. So if you decide to go ahead and just want to put $5,000 down or no dollars down at all, you can go ahead and do so as long as they agree. If you want to do 30 years, 15 years, 20 years, 5 years, you can also do that as well. And whatever interest rate or purchase price that you guys agree on, that is all set between you guys. Essentially what happens is they record a promissory note on your behalf, basically saying that you owe this homeowner X amount of dollars over the X amount of years at X amount of interest. And if you don't pay, you get foreclosed on. Simple, same thing as the bank. But the cool thing is, once again, that you are negotiating and it's a customizable loan between you and the homeowner. Definitely recommend that you guys look into that. Number 2 is going to be subject to. Now, subject to is mostly for somebody that may not be able to keep up with the mortgage payments. They may be in pre-foreclosure, or in all reality, they have something going on where they just don't have enough equity. Maybe there's some repairs that being needed and they just can't do anything else with the property. Subject to essentially is where you go ahead and make the monthly payments on their behalf, and you go ahead and have them deed over the property to you. So traditionally, when you buy a property, especially using conventional or traditional financing from the bank, you get 2 things. You get what's called title, which helps you with ownership, and then you get what's called a promissory note or a mortgage, which is a promise to pay. It's the debt. So what you have them do is go ahead and give you the title or the deed, right, in your name. So now I am the actual homeowner on paper, but the actual mortgage or the debt to pay is still in their name. So you're probably like, Brandon, but how does that work? Well, as long as I make the payments to the bank every single month, they traditionally don't care who's making those payments, as long as they don't know. And a lot of times they just don't care. So the cool thing about that is that you can go ahead and get a property maybe as a rental or even living in it off of not even having to use your taxes, your income, your credit, or your debt to income ratio. It just literally off of an opportunity because of somebody else's hardship. You can also go ahead and maximize on this because of the fact that, let's just say their monthly payments, it was Wells Fargo is $1,000. Well, you can go ahead and rent it out for $2,000. And now, once again, you're making a $1,000 difference. As long as your tenant is paying you, you pay the bank, you're all good to go. So subject to is going to be very, very important. And I think it's something that everybody should understand how to do and how to structure. And then number 3 of my favorite creative financing strategies is going to be lease option or rent to own. Now, this is also really, really cool because of the fact that a lot of people traditionally use rent to own or lease options to actually buy the property. But rent to own is very, very simple. You go ahead and rent the property with an option to go ahead and buy the property after you're done renting it. Typically, you do like 1 year or 2 years, and let's just say you still pay rent and you agree with the homeowner for $100,000. At that point in time, the homeowner's obviously hoping that you qualify for it. You're getting your credit right. You're getting your taxes right. You're doing all these things that you need to do. But see, the cool thing is if you structure the deal correctly, what you can do is do a rent to own with somebody else. You can go ahead and rent to own the property from the homeowner for, let's just say, 2 years at $1,000. You could then go ahead and do the same type of deal with somebody else, rent to own for maybe $1,500. Now, let's just say the homeowner is selling you the property for $100,000. You can go ahead and sell this to the other new person for $125,000. So you're making more money every single month. And then obviously with the 2-year option, you can go ahead and make more money as well when you go to buy it because of the fact that you're selling it for more. Now, typically with rent to owns, they want you to put a down payment. You could also go ahead and do the same exact thing. If you want to go ahead and put $5,000 and you know somebody is willing to do $10,000 on the same property and pay you more monthly and buy it more, it's a no-brainer. So rent to own, guys, don't always look at it as more so for me or for yourself, but look at it as an opportunity for you to make money off somebody else that may want to rent to own. You just obviously have leverage in the deal. So that's going to be my 3 top creative financing strategies, which are all very important. And that is going to be number 4 on my top 5 list. All right, guys, number 5 is going to be Airbnb arbitration. Now, Airbnb arbitration is really, really cool. Now, the reason why I'm so excited about it, guys, is because I've done all the other 4 and I've just now started to indulge into Airbnb arbitration. I am now on my 2nd Airbnb arbitration, and in all reality, it's actually easier than what I thought. The cool thing about it is that a lot more people are actually vulnerable or acceptable to the actual opportunity that may arise. So let me go ahead and explain to you what Airbnb arbitration is. Airbnb arbitration is essentially where you go ahead and negotiate with the homeowner to rent the property. Now, you let them know that you are also going to be putting it on Airbnb, VRBO, booking space, or maybe even relocation people that may want to come through. And in all reality, you may not be staying in the actual property. So essentially, let's just say I negotiate with the homeowner for a rent of $1,000. Let's just say I go on AirDNA, Data Rabu, and I do my comps, and I found out that the same type of property can be listed on Airbnb or VRBO for $2,000, $3,000, $50,000 a night. I'm making maybe $4,000 or $5,000 a month. In all reality, as long as I pay them their $1,000, I would be collecting the difference of the $4,000 or $3,000. And it's so dope, guys, because of the fact that once again, we are cleaning the house often, so we know what's going on inside of the property, and we always have our cleaning crew coming in, so the homeowners understand that versus having a long-term tenant that, you know, you only see the property once a year, if that. Number 2, our intention is to always have money and make money, so they don't have to fight with us if we aren't paying the lease, right? Obviously, if the Airbnb arbitration deal is not going well, then hey, we're out of the deal. It's all good. You can actually go ahead and do your long-term tenant thing and just move on. But as long as we're making money, they're going to be happy with it. And sometimes, guys, we actually do profit share with them because of the fact that we like to go ahead and make sure that they understand and they have a little bit more leverage in the game and incentivize them to want to do this. Airbnb arbitration is really, really dope. The only downside to it is you do have to furnish the property, and furnishing the property sometimes can be a little bit costly, and that is your leverage in the game. But as long as you have a lease agreement stating that, you know, you're going to be there for a year or 2 years to at least make the money back that you have from the furnishings that you're doing, you're going to be completely fine. Our Airbnb arbitration, guys, is one of my favorites now. I love doing it, which is the reason why I left it for last, because I think that it's a great opportunity when you're talking to homeowners, especially if their property is like, I would say, just really big, or maybe they just have a lot of value in it and they're kind of stuck on their price and it's just sitting vacant and they really do traveling or whatever the case may be. You can go ahead and let them know, hey, listen, I know you're interested in selling it. I know you've been trying to sell it for a couple months now. Maybe the market's just not right. You know, would you be interested in a 6-month lease on where I make you more money than the average rent? That's another great upside, guys, because of the fact that most of the times you can pay a little bit more than the average rent. I don't recommend you telling them that off rip, but you can pay a little bit more because you're going to be making more money every single month through Airbnb as long as the numbers are there. That's why Airbnb arbitration is one of the new things that I like. I think it's something that everybody should try because the cool thing is that you get to have rental properties or cash flow properties without having to buy the actual home, you know, acquire debt to income, or once again, applying for a mortgage and doing doing that whole thing and putting a whole bunch of money down. All right, guys, so those are my top 5 strategies on how to go ahead and still monetize off of opportunities that may want to sell, but just don't fit your wholesale criteria. Now, what I want to tell you guys, full disclosures, make sure that you are using the proper documentation or JV agreements, whatever the case may be, to make sure that you structure these deals correctly. I don't recommend that these deals are done as far as your first deal or your second deal. I do recommend that you do a couple of wholesale deals, start to understand real estate and truly understand the paperwork and how it actually works. But at the end of the day, as long as you have a mentor, you have somebody that you truly trust that's giving you the right information on how to go upon any of these, just go for it, right? You got to risk the reward. But in all reality, you want to make sure that you're squeezing all of the lemon juice out of that lemon. Just because your list is now depleted with a whole bunch of people that may not fit your wholesale criteria, that doesn't mean that you don't have an opportunity to make money. So just make sure that you have a lot of other tools in the tool belt so that you can go ahead and pull out and be able to go and still help somebody out, but in return, maybe build out a passive income opportunity or still make some money up front. So having all of this, guys, is going to be very, very important to your wholesale operation, and also training your team or employees, acquisition agents, your dispo, whatever the case may be, showing them these opportunities and kind of explaining to them on how they work so that you can also have them qualify or pre-qualify these leads so that you can work towards them as well. With that being said, guys, if you liked today's video, please make sure you go ahead and ring that notification bell, smash that like button, and comment down below on what your thoughts were today on today's video. And statistics show that you guys aren't subscribing. Now, you're loving the content, but you aren't subscribing. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram. And once again, guys, I hope that you enjoyed today's video where I teach you everything real estate, mindset, and business. I'll catch you guys on the next one.